Coming up on AgweekTV, lawmakers turn up the heat on a federal investigation on packer concentration to protect producers and consumers. Palmer Amaranth is slipping through state inspection cracks and creating headaches for producers.
In the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic, friends Sarah Watson and Terry Trickle bought the former District 166 rural schoolhouse in Minnesota to create Blackboard Restaurant.
And a new ag education program aims to fix the ag teacher shortage. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. Lawmakers are turning up the heat on cattle market issues. Senators Mike Rounds of South Dakota and Tina Smith of Minnesota asked the AG to investigate whether the large meat packers are violating antitrust laws. This isn't the first probe on the issue, and I talked with Rounds about what's different this time.
This time around, we've placed within our letter the concerns, and specifically we pointed out the disparity right now between what a consumer is paying and what the actual producer is receiving, and the spread in between, which is basically being controlled by four major packers in the United States that control more than 80% of the entire beef processing market. It's not fair to the consumer, and it most certainly is not fair to the producer. If we only go back to the producer and talk about what this is doing to them, and we don't recognize the impact on the consumer, we'll never get this changed.
So do you think this AG or this administration is going to be more friendly towards not only an investigation, but moving forward with action?
We think the Attorney General has the authority and responsibility to investigate these issues, and we're simply bringing up the fact that right now there is such a disparity between what the consumer pays as the end user and what the original producer of these beef cattle in the United States is receiving, that it's time that he take a look at where that money's actually going and whether it's fair.
So one of the things that you're looking at is the 5014 bill, which you have signed on to. Is there enough support, you think, to get that passed, and do you think it could be effective?
What we would like to see is a larger percent of what they pay for on a transparent basis for cash price on the open market. The 5014 is what I'm on with Senator Grassley. I know that Senator Grassley believes that this is an appropriate program. I don't know what the end result might be, but I know that where it's at right now is way, way below what would be considered a fair open market percentage.
In a surprise move, JBS, the world's largest meat packer, has left the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. JBS is reportedly upset NCBA recently joined with other farm groups to call for more market transparency and asked DOJ to report on its ongoing packer antitrust investigation. Producers have been outraged about the low prices they've received for cattle, while high box beef prices have pumped up packer profits. NCBA has long been criticized by some producers who felt the meat packers controlled the group and shouldn't have a seat at the table anyway.
From NCBA standpoint, we're trying to protect the producer, and the fact that JBS didn't appreciate that, while they certainly are right to voice their opinion, they don't get to tell anybody what to do, and if they didn't like it, a mutual decision for them to leave the association was not a bad thing.
A JBS spokesperson says they suspended membership in NCBA a year ago as part of an internal review of trade association investments. However, the company plans to stay involved with the group. Tyson Foods, Cargill, and National Beef are still listed, though, as members of NCBA's Product Council. USDA's livestock forage program is now available for producers in areas at D2 drought status or higher on the Drought Monitor. Producers in these counties are now eligible for 3 payments if they've suffered grazing losses. They'll need to certify acres, livestock numbers, and provide a lease agreement to their FSA office. USDA's Farm Service Agency is also still pushing to get payments out soon to farmers for past disasters. FSA wants to release quality loss adjustment payments and the second round of 2019 WIP Plus program payments by the end of the month. What complicated the program deployment was QLA was tied to the same funding pool as WIP Plus.
So in order to make sure that we're allocating the funding resources appropriately, we had to have all of WIT Plus in and all of QLA in so that we could make a determination on that last 50% of WIT Plus and QLA.
Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack told lawmakers payments were also delayed because USDA needed more money, with an estimated shortfall of $300 million to $1 billion, depending on the volume of claims. The Iowa legislature has wrapped up its 2021 session with several wins for agriculture, but also a big loss. Lawmakers passed bills to shift mental health funding from property taxes to a state fund, eliminated the state's inheritance tax, made the beginning farmer tax credit program easier to participate in, plus they appropriated $100 million for rural broadband. However, one disappointment for farm groups was the Iowa Biofuels standard, which would have established minimum blending requirements for biodiesel and ethanol in Iowa. It looked good early in the session.
However, met some resistance mid-session, and we believe that there was some mischaracterized opposition that was laid out regarding the bill that prevented it from moving any further.
Dolch says they're confident they can work through those issues in the offseason to ensure passage next session. Bipartisan biofuels legislation has been introduced in the U.S. Senate to address issues associated with the small refinery exemptions under the RFS. The Renewable Fuel Standard Integrity Act of 2021 was introduced by Nebraska's Deb Fischer and Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. It's in reaction to the Trump administration granting 90 waivers, which eroded 4 billion gallons of ethanol demand from the RFS. And this week, the U.S. Trade Representative's office initiated a dispute settlement process against Canada's dairy industry. This is the first formal panel under USMCA. The U.S. is alleging that Canada's tariff rate quota system limits U.S. access to the Canadian market and is in violation of their dairy import obligations. Ahead on AgweekTV, a farmer is dealing with a huge weed problem that he blames on his cattle feed.
Superior Grain Equipment offers you the industry's best dryer and grain handling equipment. So make the superior choice and get higher quality grains, test weights, and prices while using half the energy. Superior Grain Equipment.
Hi, neighbor! I know you didn't ask me to, but I grabbed your mail for you while you were out of town. This one was marked urgent, so I opened it for you. It's your bank statement. Are all those charges right? I highlighted the bottom of page 3 where you can sign up for e-statements.
This isn't my mail.
E-statements with Cornerstone Bank. Keep nosy neighbors at bay by switching today.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers 2 solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
Superior Grain Equipment is committed to quality and service. Protect your bottom line and your future with superior quality, protection, and reliability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
We're going to talk today about a revolutionary auto steer product that you guys have developed.
We back one of these things in, it'll drain a 40-acre patch just within hours.
What can you tell us about what dairy farmers do to make sure that their animals are happy?
Their care is our primary concern.
Is there still time for producers to get storage bins up?
Absolutely. We still can definitely get something up and ready for corn harvest.
Palmer amaranth is a fast-growing weed that can take a heavy toll on yields. It's been working its way up from the south and is starting to be found in the western corn belt. In this week's Ag Week cover story, Mikkel Pates talked to a cattle producer who's dealing with a big problem because the weed was in his cattle feed.
A North Dakota farmer and cattleman wonders why his state couldn't protect him from a tainted source of sunflower screenings from Fargo when they knew Minnesota had already banned it because of Palmer amaranth.
I knew where they came from, but I didn't know that they knew there was Palmer in it.
Tyler Elston and his wife Tori have a 2,000 head cattle feed lot near Spiritwood. 3 years ago, he thought he was getting a good deal on cattle feed when he bought sunflower screenings from a trucker who got them from Red River Commodities. But last summer, he realized some of the loads were full of Palmer amaranth seeds. He wonders why the North Dakota Ag Department didn't stop it.
I'm pretty upset at the state for not at least notifying people about the screenings when they knew about it. Because when Minnesota quit letting them in, the state should have done something right away.
Barnes County Weed Officer Jamin Windish was one of the officials called to Elston's farm last fall when the weeds were discovered. He was shocked at what they found.
There was a lot, way more than they've found in other, counties across the state.
They suspect it got so bad because the cattle ate the Palmer seed that were in their feed. Then it was spread in their manure across 1,000 acres.
Economic impact this is going to have on every North Dakota farmer, not just myself.
Barnes County Weed Board Chair Lloyd Whelan says the weeds likely came from the south where Palmer is more established.
It seems that this company brought sunflowers from all over the lower 48, and so they clean them up here, and so there's Palmer down there, and now we got it up here.
Whether it's poor regulation or other liability, this farmer's on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars a year indefinitely. For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at Spiritwood, North Dakota.
Red River Commodities did not return calls on this story. North Dakota Ag Commissioner Doug Goring says the department did all they could within their authority, but that landowners are responsible for their noxious weeds. You can read more in the next Ag Week magazine or at agweek.com. Acgo-Amity, which makes well-known farm equipment brands like Concord, Wilrich, and Wishick, was purchased by Vaderstad AB. The Swedish company acquired 100% of Wahpeton, North Dakota-based Amity and will be fully integrating it under the name Vaderstad Inc.
Vaderstad has, when they acquired Seedhawk, they have a hoe drill toolbar up there and very large air carts. Their smallest one starts well above our largest one, so that's a big advantage there. But definitely a little different. There's not a lot of overlap with our product lines, which is really nice.
Amity's CEO says the combination of their highly skilled team and Vaderstad's experience will help them provide a broad set of agronomic solutions for farmers in the region and new opportunities for dealers. There's a serious shortage of ag education teachers, limiting how many schools can offer ag programs. But as Jenny Schlecht reports, NDSU and Dickinson State are partnering in an innovative master's degree program to train more ag teachers.
There's a pressing need for ag education nationwide.
Adam Marks teaches ag education at NDSU. He says the good news is that there is a high demand for ag programs in high schools.
Schools continue to see the need and the benefit from incorporating school-based agricultural education.
The cooperative program between Dickinson State and NDSU may be the first of its kind in the country. After graduating with a bachelor's degree at DSU, students will finish their master's in ag education. They'll do the work in Dickinson, but get the degree from NDSU.
I'm trying to marry a strong program in agriculture with a strong tradition in teacher training.
The new program fits well with DSU's mission to be workforce-oriented. The degree can prepare students for anything from extension work to a variety of jobs in agribusiness.
Through this partnership, they are able to accomplish those goals and work in a position that they really feel good about.
We want to make sure that we are preparing students to fill the careers that North Dakota needs to keep our youth here. There are tons and tons of opportunities in education across our state.
In Dickinson, North Dakota, this is Jenny Schlecht for Ag Week.
The goal is to graduate at least 5 students a year from the NDSU Master's Program.
Coming up on Ag Week TV, we'll take you to a former rural schoolhouse turned modern eclectic restaurant that opened during the pandemic.
At Trans Systems, every day is a great day to haul beets. Our family-owned business moves more beets than anyone in the world. We enjoy good work and good pay, and many of us have been here for decades because it's a place where our opinions are heard and our accomplishments are seen. We're your home every day and can take summers off. Here, our safety and yours matter most. Trans Systems, a sweet haul in the Red River Valley since 1983.
The planter service technicians at Titan Machinery have the training, experience, and genuine Case IH parts and service to get the most out of your planters. From pre-season tune-ups to precision planting upgrades and major overhauls, the knowledgeable professionals at Titan Machinery will maximize your planting productivity. And before storing your equipment after the season, contact your Titan Machinery dealer about post-season uptime planter specials and genuine Case IH parts and service. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH and precision planting specialists.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On-site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Growing up as a kid, Gateway was always the grain bin building and the grain handling people that were out in our area. One of the reasons we chose to go with Gateway was they're the leader in the industry and they are the #1 Brock dealer in the United States. We've really liked the Brock design and some of the designs that Gateway has come up with throughout the years. My best advice would be to just put your trust in them and let them come up with the design that's going to fit your needs.
Go beyond the headlines with an Ag Week membership. Get in-depth agribusiness reporting, original farm and ranch stories, and fact-based research for the most comprehensive ag news in the upper Midwest. Experienced ag journalists bring you exclusive ag news, insights, and policy updates you won't find anywhere else. Become a member today and get unlimited access to Ag Week and AgweekTV.
Some rain and rain chances in parts of the Corn Belt and Northern Plains weighed on the grain markets at times this week, but will the trend continue into June? Here's John with our Agri-Weather Outlook.
It's almost June. Drought conditions continue across many areas of the United States, even though we're starting to get into a pattern that is bringing thunderstorms into the Northern Plains, North Dakota, Southern Canada, Minnesota on a more regular basis. We're just not seeing the widespread coverage yet, and things are beginning to heat up as well, which typically happens, of course, as we get into the summer months. We're not seeing any really unusually warm weather. It's just warming up, which tells us that there will be more evaporation, which means that the increase in thunderstorms won't do the drier areas of the region that much good. And as summer starts, we're really overall still true dry, although some areas are certainly in better shape than others. Let's take a look at the weather pattern this week. Meandering jet stream, fairly mild temperatures working up into the Northern Plains. Now keep in mind, what I demark here as warm, this time of year, that means temperatures that are in the neighborhood of 70 degrees up into the 80s or up the lower to middle 80s maybe. The hot weather is where it's around 90 or on up into the 90s. And with this meandering jet stream pattern, we're actually seeing a lot of fairly warm air. Not a lot of terribly hot air, except in the Southwest Desert, South Texas, Mexico, and of course the state of Florida. But a lot of 70 to 80 degree weather throughout the Middle West, which is about right. But you do get considerably more evaporation when it's a sunny day with temperatures in the 70s than you do when temperatures are much cooler. Now, a shower could produce a day with highs in the 60s, but it's mostly going to be fairly mild to warm this first week of June across the Northern Plains region. No, really cold air is really going through some retreating right now. But as we move on into next week, I do expect to see this ridging, which will start to increase the warm temperatures. And this area of hot weather, 90 degrees or so, will expand into the southern part of the Corn Belt, the southern southern 2/3 or so of the Great Plains, and that means with the warmer temperatures, there'll be even more evaporation. Now, down south, it's been rainy, and it will continue to be. This week looks quite stormy in the southern plains, the southern part of the deep south, mostly the western part of the mid-south, maybe a better way of saying that. Into the northern plains, there will certainly be opportunities for thunderstorms. I just don't expect widespread storms, and so some areas you get under the right shower, you'll get enough rain to get you through for a couple of weeks, but a lot of this region is still going to be dry. And the same thing for the second week. There will be rain chances in the drier sections of the country, probably just not enough. U.S. Drought Monitor this week shows it's still way too dry in most of the northern plains and kind of dry in the northern part of the Corn Belt. That is not likely to change.
Now is the best time to lock in pricing and secure your future farm equipment needs with the Summers Manufacturing Advance Order Programs. Confirm your order by May 31st for fall delivery, or confirm your order by June 30th for next spring. All Summers equipment qualifies, including our new Super Coulter Samurai, the innovative VRT Renegade, and the best built land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more.
At North Star Ag, we're more than your short-line machinery dealer. We're also full service, and we're farmers first. That means we know it's not about what's best, but what's best for your farm. Whether you're planting, growing, or harvesting, we're there for all your equipment, parts, and service needs. And we've been doing it since 2009, with the largest inventory and availability in the area. Check us out at northstar-ag.com or call us at 701-361-4790.
We have products that no other companies have. That gives us a bit of an advantage and a bit of an edge, and it provides some security to our customer base that we've been here, we're here to stay, and we want to still provide these new innovations to the customers today. It's co-granulated products where we're putting together multiple nutrients. We've got products in our Micro Essentials lineup that contain sulfur and zinc, and we also have products on our potash side which contain boron, which is a newer product for us, which is called Aspire.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
Ag Week brings you timely agriculture news from field to fork in digital, print, and television. Fresh every week, join me, Mike Speaker, from the Ag Week editorial team for a deeper dive into farm and ranch stories with personalities from the world of agriculture. If you are involved in farming, ranching, or agribusiness, the Ag Week podcast is the show for you.
It's been a very long time since country kids went to class at the Dora Township School in rural Vergas, Minnesota. The old District 166 school has been a restaurant for more than 40 years, and now two longtime friends have opened it as Blackboard Restaurant. Katie Pinky talked to one of the owners about the importance of local ingredients.
Chef Sarah Watson and her husband Eric have owned several restaurants in the Fargo-Moorhead area, including Mezzaluna and Rustica. When COVID hit, she lost her job at the Delta Hotel in Fargo. So she and her friend Terry Trickle took a leap of faith last summer, opening a rural restaurant during the pandemic. It didn't go as expected.
We had a line out the door. We had picnic tables out on the lawn, and I remember at one point saying, somebody take those picnic tables away. Like, we can't keep up.
Watson grew up on a farm near Glendon, Minnesota, so she's happy to return to her rural roots and loves to use local ingredients.
So we like to change things up often here, depending on what's in season, the folks we're working with to bring our products in. That's really important to me and always has been in all of my restaurants, but out here it's even more special because they're right down the road. They are our friends and neighbors.
For example, they get beef from Ditterich Family Farms just down the road. Watson says it gives the staff a better appreciation for the food they're preparing and serving.
you saw the cow, or the pig, whatever it is. But I think you have a different appreciation than just opening a piece of plastic and throwing it on the grill. It's like, no, this was grown and raised, and these are the people that are doing that. That's their livelihood and their business, and then it gets to us, and we get to take it and turn it into something that you or another guest is going to enjoy.
Watson says now that the pandemic is largely behind us, they're excited to see what the summer brings. In rural Vergas, Minnesota, this is Katie Pinky for Ag Week.
Blackboard is open Wednesdays through Sundays. Watson says they already have reservations well into the summer. Still ahead, we'll meet one of the farmers we're following this season from planting to harvest.
Challenges. We all face them at some time. But it seems that ag has seen its fair share over the past few years. Has your farming operation been able to stand the challenges? If not, maybe it's time to talk to the risk management specialist at Martinson Ag. We can help you make the sound decisions to help your operation weather the storm. Martinson Ag, your one-stop shop for crop insurance, livestock insurance, and marketing. We are here to take your operation to the next level.
At North Star Ag, we're more than your short-line machinery dealer. We're also full service, and we're farmers first. That means we know it's not about what's best, but what's best for your farm. Whether you're planting, growing, or harvesting, we're there for all your equipment, parts, and service needs. And we've been doing it since 2009, with the largest inventory and availability in the area. Check us out at northstar-ag.com or call us at 701-361-4790.
We have products that no other companies have. That gives us a bit of an advantage and a bit of an edge, and it provides some security to our customer base that we've been here, we're here to stay, and we want to still provide these new innovations to the customers today. It's co-granulated products where we're putting together multiple nutrients. We've got products in our Micro Essentials lineup that contain sulfur and zinc, and we also have products on our potash side which contain boron, which is a newer product for us, which is called Aspire.
Steffes Group, selling land and the equipment to farm it since 1960. If you're interested in selling or have questions about our auction process, head to our website at steffesgroup.com to contact us at any one of our 4 locations located throughout the Midwest. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our auction previews and recaps to stay up to date on the market in your area.
For Ag Week, this is Mikkel Pates at Watertown, South Dakota.
We'll look at the positive impacts that dairy can have on the community.
A Minnesota couple has put a grain bin to a new use. Spoiler alert, it's not grain.
This elaborate system of tubing with the downhill slope is how Maplewood State Park gathers sap to make syrup.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. This season on Ag Week TV, we're following some farmers from planting to harvest. Dan Speakermeyer is one of the farmers we'll be checking in on throughout this growing season. Dan farms 1,300 acres in Ransom County in southeast North Dakota in partnership with his son Nathan. This year it's all corn and beans. He says planting started out well this spring until it turned cooler.
It was really nice when we first started, and corn germinated within a few days, but then it just got cold after that, and so we took 5 days off of planting and did other things and waited for things to warm up, so we didn't want that corn to rot in the ground.
Speakermeyer says they use strip till and no-till practices and plant cover crops, so they've had enough moisture for planting but could use about an inch of rain now. Thanks for watching this week's edition of Ag Week TV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have yourself a great and safe week.